there's kind of a lot to chew over with that movie, and there's a lot that's to some extent left open to your interpretation.
Well,
I
because
think
what you
that's
were just
fine. I
saying,
like that.
it reflects he never got to live honestly, right? Like he wanted a kid, and so his wife accuses him of only having gotten with her to have a child of his own, sort of thing, when really
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wanted to be with another man. And so
Mm.
and then he lost that partner, and so it just spiraled into everything. So yeah, there's like a core of he just wanted to live as who he was, but he never got that chance, or at
yep.
least he didn't give himself the right pathway to do so.
To do so. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I did
it's
think she was very vindictive, but didn't realize that she could. There was like a part of her that was more innocent, even in that vindictiveness, right? That
Hmm.
at one point she does say to him, like, "Yeah, you're hideous." Like I couldn't believe the things she was saying to him, right? He's clearly almost dying. She obviously doesn't know that yet, but she's she's so vindictive, but at the same time it's like he is killing himself, he is dying with
Yeah,
what he has done to himself. She's just being honest about what's really going on, but does she need to post a photo of her father on Facebook? That's that really cruel side to her that doesn't
hmm
know what to do with itself. It doesn't know how to be useful in the world. It just knows how to be destructive, and that's it.
yeah. She's a broken person because she was abandoned by her father, like Drinker said, and that he feels like immense guilt for it.
Yeah.
And you can tell as well by the time you hit that, like throughout the film, almost every character tells him, "It's like go to hospital, pay for blah blah blah," and like everyone tells him, he keeps saying no. He's a very self-destructive person as well, and so
Right.
it's obviously fed into her significantly.
could you, I
Um,
mean, could you make the argument that he was like literally trying to kill himself?
I think so, yeah.
Because you could go either way with it, because there's times when you see him like researching, congenital heart, you know, defect or whatever it is, like that he's got, like
Hmm.
that he's dying of heart disease, and he seems genuinely like upset and unhappy at the fact that he's probably going to die. So I was like, oh, like does that mean he wants to live? He just can't stop eating, or could you interpret it as he's a broken man who's made so many mistakes in life, he's intending to basically pass away, and all the money that he's got goes to his daughter, so that he's done something good with his life?
I
I
think
don't
so,
know,
yeah.
like you know
I think that
Yeah.
money going to her is the last thing he can think he did right. That's why he won't allow the money to be spent on himself.
yeah.
Yeah. And his I think I got this right, was that his boyfriend stopped eating, and that's why
Yes.
he passed away. So that this desire to overfeed himself coming from, I don't know, I kind of saw that as the reason that he was taking so much solitude in just feeding himself. Those moments where he was like eating, just binging, was just so intense. The music was incredible, but then
it's
you're just
it's
watching him like gorge himself.
it's like almost sinister music. Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
really horrific. Like it actually kind of put me off food for like the rest of the
Well,
day. I was like,
um,
oh god, this is awful.
I'm assuming you guys are aware, but there are people who tweet about how Brendan Fraser has attacked the fat community with this film. He has
Oh.
shamed
Yeah.
them.
Oh, for fuck's
The
sake.
first thought I ever had was like, fat community? Fat community? Like,
Well,
what?
they
Yeah,
well, they
because
did
they
bring up the fact that it's actually bad for your health to be that overweight. So that
yeah.
itself
Well,
is an attack.
I saw people on Twitter talking about how like they're a marginalized group and stuff. It's like, oh, get fucked. Like you it's not like you're a racial minority, or it's you're a different sexuality or anything like that. Like those are things you're born with. You fucking chose to be like this, okay? Like that's not a marginalized community. That wasn't beyond your control. So don't play the victim with that one. And
Yeah.
also like, you know, yeah, like the movie makes the point that like weighing 600 pounds is really unhealthy and dangerous for you. Like in other news, water is wet. It's like it should be self-evident. Like that's something that you shouldn't even need to teach people.
There's
But yeah,
that.
like some of
Yeah.
the criticism I saw was like, oh my god, like a character like this is portrayed as fundamentally like broken and unhappy and all the rest. It's like, well, who at that size is happy with themselves?
Yeah.
Not many, I would imagine.
Oh,
No,
It's
that's.
and
not.
I think that's part of why they made him as heavy as that. I think he's like 500 to 600 pounds, possibly
yeah,
more.
yeah,
Yep.
The whole point is that
500%.
it just destroys quality of life in every aspect.
Well,
And
if
it's
you
like,
can't even walk across the room because of how big you are, then I would argue you've probably ruined your life. Like that's
Yeah.
It's a tough one to come back from.
A lot of people are like, he's not even that weight. You need to hire people who are that weight in order. It's just like, what? Like, and as someone pointed out, it's like, do you know how dangerous that would be? Being like, oh, these
Yeah.
hard hours to record this film. Like, you got to get here right now, fat guy who's like 700 pounds. Like, no,
You might not
no.
even make it through the film. That's, and it might even encourage these actors who, say you're like a svelte 400 pounds, like
Yeah.
you might almost be like, oh, I need to get bigger for this role. And it's like eating more food and getting fatter. Like, yeah, that's literally going to destroy people's lives. You can't do that to someone.
The idea that like a 400, 500-pound person is considered thin in that community.
Yeah.
Like, look at this sportsman running around. I bet you can fit in your car, you piece of shit. Like,
You only need one airline seat,
Someone did make a TikTok saying that I have thin privilege, even though she was a bigger girl. She was like, I have thin privilege because I don't need to buy an additional seat on a flight. So compared to someone who does, I'm privileged and that person's not. It's just, there's all these like delineation of how privileged a person is.
That's yeah. I like totally like I can listen at least to the argument of like, being a certain gender or sexuality or having a certain skin color might make life harder for you in certain places. Okay, fine. You can have that conversation. But like, nobody made you be 600 pounds. Like that's on you. And so, yeah, you can't claim privilege there, or oppression.
Yeah.
As Ricky Gervais said, like, it's not a disease. You just like eating. Like,
and hey, we all understand eating's pretty cool. It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Like, I like a pizza as much as the next guy, but I wouldn't eat 5 of them a day. And like, if my jeans started to get tight, I would just like cut down a little bit, or I'd do more walking or whatever. I wouldn't buy bigger jeans. Like that's
only 5, huh? Pity, okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever watched mukbangs where people gorge themselves on a ton of
God
food?
awful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like, okay, first time in like the history of human existence that food is this ubiquitous that you can like literally access so many calories at a very low price. It's never happened before. And so so of course, like eating disorders are through the roof because we're not really programmed to control how much we eat. I mean, we can, but we're programmed to crave more calories, right? So I really think that mukbangs are like the new porn. It's like the new porn for food because people are just like, the deep, dark desire is to eat as much as possible for some people.
I think I used to quite enjoy Epic Mealtime. It's the same deal, it's just like cooking insanely big like hamburgers or whatever it might be. And it's kind of cool just from the spectacle point of view. But yeah, like you say, in different centuries, like being fatter was considered like a sign of status because you could afford food.
Yeah.
And it's different now because, like you say, it's ubiquitous. You can go out anywhere and get fast food like really cheap and become huge. And that's why I guess society now kind of prizes people who are not thinner but like in better shape because they've got the self-discipline to like curb that.
To work at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so much of the fat community's argument is that, oh, it's genetic and you didn't go through this, or you have thin privilege and you have this, and it's like, oh, that if I'm fat, it's not actually my fault and it's not in my control. So it's consistent with this thing of saying I'm a victim of society and that's why I'm going to eat and that's okay and you guys should actually accept that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that this genetic defect only ever occurred when McDonald's came to be. So, what are the odds, eh? God, strange stuff.
The evolution of the Happy Meal.
It is, and it's just, it's for any rational person, it's just obvious. It's like, look, it's really easy to get junk food these days, and if you're not disciplined with it, you will gain weight quite easily, because most of our jobs require us to sit on our arses and type at a computer as well, like for the average person. So again, it doesn't really inspire lots of exercise that burns off loads of calories, and so the result is people gain weight. It's unfortunate, but it's just reality. And so you either have to work out and burn off that excess energy, or you have to like cut down what you're eating. But like people don't do it, and it's like, yeah, well, donuts are nice, so I want to eat loads of donuts, and it's You know, it's not
And
my
that's the
fault
thing.
if I get fat.
Now more than ever, there is nutritional information up the wazoo all over the internet. It'll tell you everything about how it's like, you know, that hamburger, it's much worse than you thought even. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to look at the calorie count on a deep fried Mars bar to know that like that's probably going to be bad for me. I shouldn't
Oh,
eat
just
that.
eat a banana with it and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll have a little piece of lettuce on top of it or something.
Yeah, then you're
Perfect,
great.
yes.